Let's get into our first topic then. And could Nigel Farage be our next Prime Minister? A new poll by Find Out Now has put Reform UK ahead of Labour. They've got 24% of the public's support, just beating Labour to second place. The Tories currently leading with 26%. Now, it's the first voting intention poll that has put Reform ahead of Keir Starmer's party, leading to Reform's chairman declaring that they will win the next general election. And in more good news for Farage, a poll for ITV found that he was the most popular leader in Wales. So do you think that he could be our next Prime Minister? Would you want him to be leading the country? 0207 862 2222 is the number for your view, and get those calls in now. Dom, you're shaking your head.
Honestly, I don't understand what's happening. Firstly, Nigel Farage, I think, should never be Prime Minister. I think he's a charlatan. I think he's in it completely for himself. He was a Euro MP who never pretty much turned up to his job in Brussels. He's in Clapton, but he's most of the time in America. This is a man totally out for himself. He led us into this totally self-destructive thing of Brexit. So the idea that he could be Prime Minister is terrifying to me. But it's sort of good and bad news. What's weird to me is how bad are Labour doing that, so soon after a really big election win, the Tories are ahead. I mean, unbelievable. And that Reform are doing so well. And a lot of that is to blame, is blaming the current government for, they're just not doing a great job. Whether they're doing a good job economically or whatever, just their PR is appalling at the moment. But I also think that actually if Reform are this popular, all that's going to do is split the Labour Reform vote and actually will help Labour. So his only chance of being Prime Minister, I think, is if we go to PR, to proportional representation.
So it'll split the Conservative vote
it'll split
in favour of Labour?
Well, yes, because, obviously, if there was just one party, if the Tories united with Reform, I think they'd walk it at the moment, yeah.
Do you think this is because Labour are doing really bad, or do you think it's because Nigel Farage is actually an incredibly popular character, and whether you like him or not, incredibly influential?
Oh, he's a great character, but
British politics.
Boris was a good character. I didn't want him running our country.
Well, so I slightly disagree with Dom's perspective on Nigel Farage in terms of his character. Right, I don't think that he's necessarily always going to be out for himself. I think he's pretty good when it comes to being incredibly charismatic. He's charming. People like him. He's a very, very good public speaker. He's one of the best orators, I think, that we have in modern politics today. I do, however...
It'd be great fun in the pub, there's no question.
It would be great fun in the pub.
That was the argument for Boris Johnson as well, and why Boris Johnson got a lot of the votes. Well, he won an election.
But we also wanted someone unflashy and dull, and we got Starmer, so I don't know what the answer is.
Well, I don't necessarily think it's about character, I think it's about people actually feeling better off. And I don't think that Nigel Farage necessarily does better than the Conservatives or indeed than Labour because he is more right-wing. I think he does better because he seems to answer questions directly. He seems to have all of the answers, whether you agree or disagree with them or not. I disagree with quite a lot of it. But it feels as though he has the answers and he's answering those questions directly. And I think that is really why he's so popular.
I totally agree with you. I mean, he's, without doubt, an amazing communicator. Without doubt, probably the most charismatic politician we have. But the problem is it's really easy to answer straight and say stuff when you have no responsibility or power.
Actually, being in number 10 is
when
very, very different.
When you're in power and you actually have to deliver.
OK, but I wonder whether that's what's doing him lots of favours at the moment. Actually, when you look at Labour and the Conservative policies, is there a huge amount between them? Whereas maybe Reform is coming out as another party that have sort of defined principles. They've decided what they want to do and they're going for it whether you like it or not.
Well, this is the interplay between the Conservatives and Reform. The Conservative Party presided over the highest tax burden since the Second World War. They have seen huge amounts of regulation that have meant that the housing crisis has been the worst it ever has been. Young people cannot afford housing. I think that all of these economic problems really, really are important. Now, whether you agree or disagree with Nigel Farage and Reform's policies, I disagree with quite a lot of it. I think that the implementing a tax on businesses for employing foreign workers is just ludicrous, and anyone that has an inch of an understanding of economics knows that that's terrible. That being said, at least he seems to believe something. They seem to stand for something.
Well,
the Conservative...
They stand against something. That's the problem. I mean, the problem is that I think this country is broken. It's not working, and I'm blaming both sides for that. And what happens is what why Reform are doing so well is they're frankly scapegoating. They're blaming it essentially on immigration. That's their big pull.
All right, I want to go to calls. Anne from Hertfordshire, what's your thoughts? Would you be happy to see Farage in number 10?
Yeah, I think he'd be a breath of fresh air.
What is it you particularly like about him?
I think he just understands people and what people want. The current government are just bleeding us all dry and blaming us for their problems, and that's got to stop.
Oh, what do you mean they're blaming? They're blaming us for.
They're blaming the general public for the big hole in the finances. And
I think they're blaming the Conservatives for the hole in the finances.
Yeah, they're blaming the Conservatives, but they're making us pay for it.
Well, that is probably true, and yes, but I mean, somebody has to pay for it, and I don't see anyone.
But I think Nigel Farage will be a different person. He cares about people. He cares about the young people.
No, he doesn't.
He'll get Britain back to work.
And so he'll get Britain back to work. What are the other policies that you particularly enjoy about Reform?
He'll get Britain back to work, and he's concerned about the migration.
Okay.
And the state of the country. He'll bring it back to Great Britain again.
Okay, Anne, thank you very much for your call.
Didn't we do that with Brexit and that didn't work?
Fred from Hertfordshire, what's your view when it comes to Nigel Farage? Do you think he would be a great Prime Minister, maybe the next one to follow Keir Starmer?
I think the man is absolutely a must for this country. Absolutely a must. The people of this country are crying out for a Nigel Farage to be our Prime Minister. He's talking the mind of the people, not this bunch that you got in there and the bunch you had before. This guy speaks the truth, and because he speaks the truth, he upsets a lot of people. The man's not a charlatan, according to your friend there.
He is.
I don't understand how you get your politics, friend. The man has this country. He has this country. Listen, you talk a lot. Let me just say this. He has this country's best interests at his heart.
No, he doesn't.
That man is speaking the mind of this country.
Okay, what is he saying, Fred? What is he saying?
Well, he's speaking about the immigration coming over here by the millions over a period of time.
So he wants to cut migration, and that's net migration, to zero, which means it's a one in, one out policy. If we continue to do that with a declining birth rate, we're going to have nobody paying for pensions.
No, you know, darling, let me tell you something about this. A lot of these reports that go on, they're all fake news. I listen to fake news all the time. It's rubbish. Darling, let me tell you, there's a secret agenda to let all these people coming across on the boats. There's a secret agenda. It's all hidden, and they're letting them in. They could stop them. They could stop these boats coming over. But they don't, because there's a secret agenda.
It sounds like you just don't like foreigners, to be honest.
Fred, what is your problem with immigration necessarily? Now, I think, obviously we saw the figures from last week.
Sometimes you cannot get an appointment at the doctors for weeks.
That's because a lot of them are immigrants who've left.
In front of you has come from another country. Listen, we are creating a problem that's going to be massive as time goes by. You don't know who you're letting in this country. A lot of these kids coming into this country could have agendas.
So it's crime,
terrorism.
Crime and public services and the National Health Service. Those are the problems. It seems as though a lot of people think that immigration is...
Thank you, Fred. Thank you, Fred. Sorry, we're just going to listen to Reem now.
Well, it sounds like immigration seems to be what a lot of people think is the root cause of the problem. But the real issue, the real reason why people are upset is I can't get an appointment on the NHS. I can't get jobs. My wages are too low. My wages are suppressed. The problem doesn't appear to be I don't like immigrants because they look different to me. It appears to be I feel like I am not economically better off. I can't use the public services. We have huge amounts of waiting lists on the National Health Service, and I don't feel like I am successful in this country. And therefore, here is a problem. And I guess Dom's right, it is a scapegoat. Here is a problem, and that is the thing I'm going to blame all of these problems on. I mean, to be fair, in immigration over the last year, almost 1 million. I mean, it is incredibly high, but we have to have those conversations, I think, without scapegoating those people.
All right, I feel like you're both in agreement with that, actually.
Sorry about that.
No, not at all. It's interesting when that happens, which is when it comes to Nigel Farage, and reform is a huge part of their campaign, isn't it? Which we've seen from
Also,
the first two callers.
who's about to supposedly give Farage money? Elon Musk.
Elon Musk.
About to, supposedly give him how much?
$100 million.
I mean, again, if you talk about foreigners interfering in our country, is that what you want? I don't.
Well, I think he should be able to do whatever he wants with his own money.
You would be quite happy for Elon Musk to be able to donate that amount of money?
I think that any donor should be allowed to do anything they want. I mean, a lot of people have a lot of problems with trade unions giving the Labour Party money, but we don't bat an eyelid about that. I think if Elon Musk wants to donate to Reform UK, he should absolutely be allowed to do so.
Well, certainly if Reform get 100 million, it'll give the party a boost, certainly. Brian from Norfolk, what's your view on Nigel Farage being Prime Minister?
I hope that will never happen.
Why is that?
Because he is too Americanised.
Oh, what makes him Americanised?
He spent more time in America than most people. Therefore, he's in with Clinton, the idiot was now taken over in America.
Trump,
Musk, there's quite a few.
As far as I'm concerned, if they bring Nigel Farage in as Prime Minister, you might as well keep what we've got now, which is another useless bunch. Okay?
Okay, so who would be less useless then? Who would
There's not a lot of love.
If Labour's useless and Reform's useless.
Boris Johnson back. That's what I say.
God, no, Brian, you were doing so well.
Brian, is there an argument? Because you make a good point there. Actually, Farage does seem to have a very good relationship with the incoming president of America. Actually, that could benefit us quite well in terms of tariffs and things. Maybe it's a good thing.
Why don't we send him there as an ambassador or something?
No, it's not a good thing, because America are going to rule us through the money they are going to give us.
Mm-hmm. Brian, what is it you like about politicians like Boris Johnson?
He's radical, yes. He is a bit of an idiot sometimes, but at least he's speaker as it is. It's a pity the people, especially the woman who's shown on television now, would listen to people like him instead of start running on about Nigel Farage, the Americans and everyone else, because I never got to do us any good.
The say it is an interesting comment. Would you say Boris Johnson says it as it is, Dom?
Well, he says it as whatever suits him. Just, Brian, I don't want to frighten you, but you know Boris Johnson was born in America, so we've got another sort of subtle American coming in.
I hadn't even made that connection. You're absolutely right. Brian, thank you very much for your call. I think he was named after a pilot that took him from one part of America to another part. Valerie from Shropshire, what's your view?
Oh, absolutely not. I can think of nothing worse. It's got the gift of the gab, and actually Reform. I looked at all the manifestos when I was looking to whom to vote for. But, they say what they're going to do, but not how they're going to do it. They're going to take migrants back to France in boats. I can see that working. They're going to get rid of net migration. Have they got plans to upskill workers in Britain to replace those workers?
They may. I think, but that is
the flaw. Going to pay for? How are they going to pay for the workers to have less taxes? They said 50% taken from public services.
Every election we should have you in looking at all the manifestos and trying to digest them all.
I want Valerie just saying, it's brilliant.
I mean, you make a very good point, but it is a problem of every party that isn't in government. They are able to say what they want to do, and they don't really have to say how they're going to do it. So that's a criticism that you could put in any party that isn't in power. But I take your point all the same, Valerie. Thank you very much for your call. Heather from Hampshire. Nigel Farage, would he be a good Prime Minister?
I think he would be excellent. He knows how Europe works, obviously. He gets on well with America. Yes. He seems to make friends. He seems to know how to do things. And at a very basic level, when he was in the jungle, he kept a very, very tidy campsite in case the rats came.
Maybe we should get
All right.
Maybe we should get all of our politicians to go into I'm a Celebrity and then that will test them out.
Just to see how they keep
I've
the
done that
campsite.
show and I was very glad I wasn't in there with him.
Did you keep it tidy?
I didn't keep it tidy. No, I was a very untidy camp, but I'm not running for Prime Minister.
Also, Heather's not voting for you for Prime Minister. Heather, thank you so much for your call. We're going to have to move on now.